know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm crazy. Naja Hall.
Hello, everybody. This is Naja Hall with another episode of I Know I'm Crazy. I Know I'm Crazy podcast. So I have a really awesome guest here today. Y'all know I'm so blessed to come across some amazing people with some amazing stories. So I was perusing Facebook one day in my free time, and I saw this interview on 700 Club, right? And it had, I don't know, maybe 1 million views. And it said something about custody, co-parenting, and y'all know that caught my eye. That's right up my alley. And so I see this guy talking about, I've gone to court 40 times for custody of my daughters, and I represented myself 15 times. So my ears opened up. And I found him on Facebook. I just typed in his name, Bill Gobin, and he has a Facebook page. And I was like, let me just try it. Y'all know that song, It Goes Down in the DM. I was like, you know what? Let me just see. Like, he might be an actual human. Let me see if he'll respond to me. And I reached out to him, told him what I do, told him what I'm about. And I was like, I got this audience that would love to hear from you. Can you come and talk to us? So Bill Gobin is here with us today. Hey, Bill.
Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
I'm good.
So I'm going to tell everybody this beautiful spiel about you because they need to know about you. But first, I know I forgot to ask you before and mention it. I got to get better about this. Damn, man. So everybody that comes on this podcast, the podcast is called I Know I'm Crazy because I know I'm crazy. Every guest has to tell us why they know that they're crazy. So, Bill, why are you crazy? Why do you know you're crazy?
Well, I'm not scared to do the outlandish to accomplish the impossible. I will tell you that much.
Oh, we see 40 times in court. Damn.
Yeah, it's actually now 47 times and represented myself 17 of those.
Oh.
And I've been successful at every hearing, every appearance.
Wow. Okay, so let me tell you all a little bit about Bill. I'm not gonna. There's so much that we have to talk about. So Bill has appeared in court 47 times during the long custody battle for his daughters, representing himself 17 of those times, and he's not yet lost a hearing. Using what he learned through many years of experience, including more than 20 hours spent in a law library writing his first motion, Gobin is now helping parents internationally devise strategies to increase the quality of their children's lives with both parents. Gobin has appeared on more than a dozen national talk shows as an obesity interventionalist and a life coach. However, these have not come without a cost. He gave up his very successful career working with actors and professional athletes in sunny LA to be an on-the-scene single dad who now supports his daughters by working in the dark coal mines of the Midwest. Now, there's a lot more that I want you all to know about Bill. Of course, as I always do, I'm going to share his bio, his links, everything on the website. So you'll see it all posted. Bill, I don't even know where to go. So first, all these national television appearances.
Yeah.
What started to garner you national TV appearances? Like, did you reach out to people and say, hey, I got this important issue. I want y'all to know about it? Or how did that go?
Well, actually, the appearances started when the book, we were getting ready to do a launch of, you're talking about the book, correct?
Yeah,
when we got ready to launch.
We didn't mention the book, but yeah, we can. Yeah, so, I want to know about the TV appearances. Like, because I hear so many dads struggling, but they don't have a platform, or they don't seek a platform to have their message heard to a lot of people. So how did you start vying for, like, what made you say, I'm pushing this all the way to the limit, as many microphones as I can get?
Well, what I do, like I said earlier, that I'm not scared to do the outlandish, to accomplish the impossible. I've called the ABC headquarters in New York and got transferred till I got a producer's number and left a voicemail and got a call back and said, hey, look, co-parenting, our country is in the middle of the worst co-parenting crisis ever. Let's talk about
it. Damn. So yeah, Bill, is this an inappropriate? Bill, you got some balls on you, honey. Yeah, he is calling up to ABC, NBC. Okay, so I know you've done a lot of TV. Without mentioning the names of the shows, unless you want to. Don't have to. You don't have to. What was like your favorite TV moment?
When Halle Berry walked into my green room by accident at the Steve Harvey show.
Who walked in? Wait, what?
Yeah, Halle Berry and Morris Chestnut had filmed a segment Well, and so I was in the green room, in my green room, waiting. And so they come out the back and down the tunnel and was leaving. And she turned into my dressing room, I guess thinking that it was a hallway by accident. And I looked at her, I was like, "Oh, Miss Barry, how are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, how are you?" And she shook my hand, but that was cool. That's a cool moment because I think she is just, damn.
I mean, she ain't no Miss Naja, but she's all right. I mean, damn. Okay, Bill. All right now. Hold on. No. So, Bill, how the hell do you land in family court 47 times, though?
Well, it's a crazy situation. I mean, you can tell just by the numbers. But when my youngest daughter was born, Lily, she was 2 months premature. And the doctors didn't think she was going to make it. They said, "You all need to prepare yourselves. This may not end well." Our other daughter was at the time 14 months old. Excuse me. So, and forgive me if I get emotional. It is what it is.
It's okay. Hey, it's okay.
So she was in NICU for 5 weeks total, but it was on the 16th day that I come home and my wife had left. She decided to take off. And so she took our 14-month-old. I had one in NICU, potentially dying. My wife is gone. And I'm like, if I could say this, bleep it, but what the f-? I'm like, what is going on here? So I call her up and I'm like, "Look, I'm not sure what's happening here, but I don't cheat. I don't run around. I work hard. You can do whatever you want, career-wise, education-wise, so we should be able to fix whatever's wrong, And she was like, "I'm just ready to have a life and party." And I said, "Well, that's a contradiction. Those aren't the same, but nonetheless."
You have a baby in NICU and a 14-month-old and a husband, but you want to party. So why didn't she just leave the baby with you?
Well, I think it was one of those things where it was pride within the family. She didn't want them to look down on her. I mean, this is my assumption.
Yeah, right. And just as a disclaimer, people, and anyone listening, this is his version of the story.
Absolutely.
So if some of her lawyers are trying to start some shit, come after me, okay? I told him to say this. This is me, so come after me. Go on, Bill.
Well, number one, I have sole custody of the girl, so I can tell the story, and
right, you can tell the truth.
Yeah, absolutely. So that night that she left, I called and I said, "Look, no matter what's happening, we need to go. I want to go see Lily in the hospital." So she said, "Come get me." I pick her up. We go. She's like, "I don't want to talk about this. Let's just go see her and go home."
What the hell?
Yeah,
it sounds like there's something missing, though, Bill. Somebody just, how hard this is to believe.
Well, I mean, here's the thing for me, and I mean, again, this is brutal, but look, man, I say all the time when I meet new people and you consider dating them, I wish you could jump 6 months ahead because people act for the first 6 months.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So anyways, she just didn't want to do it no more. So it is what it is on that part. But we got back to her house, her mom, because she moved in with her mom and dad. And I said, "Look, before you get out of the car, we got to talk about something." And she said, "Well, look, I got a solution." And I said, "Well, what's that?" She said, "You take one and I take one." And I said,
damn.
"I know what you mean, but I want to hear you say it."
Like they're popsicles?
Yeah.
What?
She said, "Well, look," she said, "if Lily lives, let her live with you and I'll take Lexi." And
that sounds like something a sociopath would say. Seriously.
She said, they're so young, they'll never remember each other and it won't hurt them. And we don't have to see each other ever again.
Oh, shit.
And I said, "Well, until 10 seconds ago, I'd hoped we'd work this out, but I said, get the fuck out of the car." And I committed to being a dad then. I mean, from that point on, I was committed to being a dad. So this is in January, okay, of 11. In April of 11, she calls me and said, in which I'm seeing the girls every day, every weekend. I mean, it's just as much as possible. So in April, she calls and says, "Look, I want, the girls are going to have to come live with you." And I'm like, "Okay, what's up?" "Well, I'm going to go to school. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that." And she said, "You got 30 days. They need to come live with you May 1st. So I'm scrambling, trying to find a 24-hour-a-day sitter, and but it found it all, put it all together. And when Lily came home from the hospital, she had a heart and lung monitor hooked to her body.
Oh.
Because her systems weren't developed, and sometimes she forget.
But she came home though, little baby.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And so when she brought them to me, May the 1st of 2011. Lily still had all this machine hooked to her. So I had one in this arm and one in this arm, and they're both crying, because Lily her body hurt her. She just cried, from being a premature.
Yeah.
And my partner was there to help me put all the stuff away. And after she left, and then both babies are crying, he says, "How the fuck are you gonna do this, bro?"
Oh, man.
I said, "Dude, I got to. I'm their dad, and that's our responsibility. There's no way of turning it down or getting out of it.
Yeah.
That's what we're supposed to do." So he left, and I've told this a couple of times, but I sit down in a chair. They were both crying, and I just sat there and I allowed myself to had a soul cleansing cry.
Yeah.
And I said, "Now, man up, and let's make this work." So, she saw him every other weekend for about a year and a half, and then she, as I say, wanted to kind of pick him up and play with him. So it began a court battle. And during this time, which you and I haven't even talked about this, but this is in the book. The girls were injured 7 times in 27 months. 3 times they were almost killed while they were with mom. Once had a broken femur, was in a full body cast. These pictures are actually in the book.
Yeah, I didn't know any. Oh my God.
So every time, there's these injuries, there's contempts, you're going to court and back and court. It was a chaotic, just destructive cycle. And for me, I got tired of it. I didn't want to spend $60,000 in legal fees, but you know what? My job is to protect.
Yeah.
And, that's what leads up to all these appearances, contempt on something, contempt here, contempt there. And it's just absurd. But
So,
things have
question.
kind of leveled out. Yeah.
I've, those of you that have been here with me for a long time, you kind of know my thoughts on family court and how it's not really built for our families.
Mm-hmm.
It's built to pad the attorney's pockets, the judge, the system, to keep their lights on. They don't really give a damn how we are afterwards. And so you said that the kids were injured a lot. And I'm assuming there was neglect or abuse of some sort,
Well, it was, I'll tell you this, it was being inattentive on the phone, on Facebook all the time, dealing with guys. One time Lexi fell down the steps, knocked her teeth out on the steps.
Oh, whoa.
Mom was texting and driving and T-boned a tow truck, and it ripped Lily's face open. She had to have plastic surgery. It just went on and on and on. But like you said, and if you don't care, I've got to expand because that was a great segue.
Yeah.
The family court system is, listen, for all the ladies out there that have dealt with this kind of crap, the family court system is imbalanced in mom's favor. I'm not complaining about that. That is just a fact. But it is imbalanced because of decades of deadbeat dads.
Mm.
And I'll own that. You've got guys, you hear the stories in the 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s that they said, "Hey, I'm running away. I don't want to be a dad.
I'm going to run away with my secretary." And this woman with no job skills is stuck with these children. She has to go on welfare. And
absolutely. So the system was created by deadbeat dads. I will acknowledge that. But that's not the world we live in anymore. Now you have dads that are standing up saying, "Hey, I want to go to my kid's play today. I need to take a vacation day." Mm-hmm. You got dads that are saying, "Hey, I want my kids half the time." You shouldn't have to fight for something that's already yours.
Mm.
These kids are both moms and their dads. That's where people have to get over themselves. I've said this a million times. And get on the same page and get past their ego.
Yeah,
because
it's our egos, right?
Knows all this. I say that the ego, spelled EGO, but ego to the Christian community stands for it erodes
Easing God out, right?
Well, it erodes God's opportunities.
Oh, I like that better. I'm going to get a t-shirt with that. That's way better than mine.
To non-Christians, it erodes great opportunities.
Yes.
Our ego it's like acid. It eats away at everything good in our life. And the children are the ones that pay for it.
How do you deal with, because you especially, but giving advice to people that are listening, when they are dealing with an egotistical parent, a person that's parenting from a place of ego or fear or greed, what's the best piece of advice you can give this person so they don't snap and go crazy?
Well, I hurt a lot of feelings. I'm going to tell you that right now, because just the other day I had a mom and dad on, we was doing a Skype conference, part of my strategy planning. And she was just like, well, I deserve to be able to go out with my friends, and I deserve to be able to this, and I said, now wait a minute. The goal is for, your children. They got a son and a daughter. I said, it's for your children to see each of you as like 14 days a month if possible, each. And I said, so if you would get past your ego and your mouth and see that, then you would have 14 days a month to act a fool.
Yeah.
If you got to go see your girls and you got to go clubbing and you got to do all this crazy shit, you got 14 days to act a fool. Be drunk, sleep in the club. I don't care. But the other 14 days, be a mom. Be there. Be with them.
Present, right?
To hell with social media. Don't worry about your phone. Don't worry about your friends. Be there. Love your kids and be a part of their life. Every fiber of it.
Yeah, that sounds like, I don't know. That sounds like somebody that really didn't want to be a parent, though. But I guess more.
No. She wanted to be a parent, but she wanted the child support and all this other stuff. And I told her, I said, listen, people got to get past this money. Kids are not an ATM and they're not a 401k plan.
Right. They shouldn't be, but for a lot of people, they are.
Absolutely. And that's where the system has got to change. I'm talking with a couple of congressmen right now. I've got a bill that we're going to try to get turned into law in the state of Kentucky that literally changes the financial dynamic of things. Because what's really important is, do the kids have what they need for school? Do they have clothes? Do they have money to eat on at school? That money's not to go get your hair done. That money is not to go do
and
other stuff.
I will say this though, Bill. I see a lot of guys like, oh my God, I'm going to just go buy the items that my child needs because I don't want her to get her hair done. I don't want to get her nails done or pay her rent or anything with it. Well,
right.
A lot of the money, I'm like, how far do these guys think that little $400 a month that they're sending?
Oh yeah, it doesn't go that far.
It doesn't go that far. And but one thing that I thought about it one day because I was like, Naja, who can you write a letter to? When I saw my husband going through his own battles, I was like, oh, This is garbage. Like, this is not built for men. And I understand why. Like you said, history shows us that it was
absolutely
because of men abandoning their responsibilities.
Right.
But I was like, do we just do away with child support completely and just automatically give everybody 50-50 custody? Because, the system needs a clean sweep, but it's not like you can disassemble it right now and then put it back together because, we live in a democracy. We can't do things that way. But what do we do to, what are some things that we can do? Like you would suggest when you're talking to these congressmen, what are you telling them to do?
Well, I tell you what several states have done, and actually going back to Kentucky, they ended up being the first state who did this.
Is that where you are, Kentucky?
I grew up in Kentucky, yes, okay. But I live in southern Indiana. Right?
Okay.
But the governor passed a law to where now when you first file for your divorce or you file for separation, it is an assumed 50-50 unless there's life-threatening conditions automatically right out of the gate. And that's what they're pushing for.
And if men knew that, because if men knew that, Bill, I think they'd be a little bit more careful too, though. Well, I don't know, because, but I think a lot of guys every other weekend. They're like, I'm going to see my kids 5 days a month. I'm going to have to pay child support. That's how my life is going to be.
Well, that's what men have absolutely, given into, because for decades it was like, hey, I'm going to get them 4 nights a month. Yep. And I'm going to pay this outrageous child support. And I'm going to pay alimony, and I'm going to have to pay for all this and this and this and that. And then, there were, let's be honest, women that abused that system, but there are men that didn't care about being dads either. But what you have now is, with the invention of social media, you have women and men both who cannot get enough attention.
Yeah.
And they're not focused on being parents.
Right.
You have more dads now than ever who are raising kids by themselves because the women say, I got to discover myself, or I should be able to do this, and I should, and you know what, fine. But again, it's the kids that lose. Right. And if people just sit down and say, here's my schedule, even though I hate your guts, here's my schedule. And even though you hate my guts, there's your schedule. How do we figure out where the kids, we can both see them as much as possible?
People ain't going to do that. They're not going to do that voluntarily. There has to be something at stake. The court basically would probably have to force them to sit down, or they would face jail time or a fine. They have to.
Well, that's where most judges now are leaning. Here's what you got: these 70-year-old judges that are retiring now. And they come from that generation that it's just like, give them to mom. That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
So
no
now
matter
you've
how
got
much.
some, yeah, exactly. And now you got some of the younger judges who are like, no, wait a minute. These kids are the ones that need to see the parents as much as possible. So this 50-50, I think you'll see in the next 5 years will probably be standard law in every state. Now with that, there will be adjustments in child support, how things are paid, and so on. Mm-hmm. Just like you and I talked about, yesterday, this app, in which, we'll talk about that at another time. But there are devices and companies out there that are like, look, we got to make this as pleasant as we can for kids, for the children. So I think you're going to see some major changes.
Are you a woman dating, engaged, or married to a man with kids? I'm Naja Hall. I'm a stepmom and a certified master step-family coach. After many years of running one of the most engaged and diverse blended family communities, I realized that women like us have issues and we experience feelings of isolation, confusion, and fear that are just different from any other role in our family. I've created a space just for stepmoms. This space is different because it provides a sense of community and it's not attached to your social media profiles. I've gathered licensed therapists and specifically trained experts to teach real tactics on how to deal with a high conflict ex, how to connect with your stepchildren, stepmom anxiety, and every other topic you can think of. If I'm speaking your language, then join VIPstepmom.com. A monthly membership costs less than a glass of wine. Sign up for a membership today. Just like I know the family court isn't for the family, dueling parents are not thinking about their children because, you got to think about it. Divorce is devastation of a family. It's the death of a family unit.
Absolutely.
What we once knew is dead and gone now, and we have to grieve. And the court will embolden, especially women, mothers with a vendetta, they will embolden them to go after a man to hurt him by weaponizing the children. Like that's just what happens. And we've seen men also financially abuse women through family court. And so you mentioned something. You said if we could all sit down. People ain't sitting down like that. Because if it was as easy as sitting down, you wouldn't have had to go to court yourself 47 times.
Well, absolutely. And you have those people that you just can't get through to, no matter how hard you try. But I will tell you what I'm seeing really quick. Me doing the co-parenting strategy planning, I see couples now that are like, you know what, even though they just can't stand each other, they're like, why am I going to pay my lawyer $10,000? You pay your lawyer $10,000. That's $20,000. We could have done something for our child's college fund. Let's go to somebody who's neutral, who's not trying to get rich off of this divorce. Now you pay the damn
lawyer's kids' college fund. That's
exactly.
What
That's where me doing co-parenting strategy planning, people are like, look, we don't get along, but lay something out on paper for us that we think we could follow, that we might be down.
How can we get these people on the phone or on the line together if they do in fact hate each other? I mean, hell, if they could come together. Okay, go ahead.
I sell people a 3-hour package.
Okay.
And what I do is I'll spend 1 hour with dad. I'll spend 1 hour with mom separately. And then we spend 1 hour together. And I have the plan ready and they've already reviewed it before we all sit down. So they've had their time to look at it. And if they're going to be mad, they've cooled off before we even sit down. Because a lot of people are programmed to, I want all of it and I just want to hurt you. Yep. And we got to stop that.
I can look at my own family situation. Like you said, how much money was just wasted because people were mad, unable to, maybe needed therapy.
Yeah.
Maybe needed anger management. Maybe needed another way to exercise their feelings in conflict. Do you advocate for therapy? I mean, you're a coach.
Yes.
You're a coach.
Yeah, 100%. In the book, I say that there's different places you can go. If you're a Christian person, if you're Muslim, if you're whatever, you have a faith leader, whether it's a pastor or a rabbi, whatever the case may be. That's an outlet to sit down with. Then you have people like me who are co-parenting strategists. You have psychologists. You have counselors. I absolutely help. One of the chapters in my book is called Professional Help. It's some, because we all need it. I had a woman tell me the other day, she's like, well, I know what's best for my kid. I said, tell me how.
Ooh.
She didn't really have it. She said, well, I just do. I said, no, you're not born with it. It's not in your DNA. I said, when you grow up, we as adults take the shit we believed our parents told us and use it. The rest of it, we kick it to the curb and implement what we think is right. So it's trial and error. Don't tell me you know all of this. You don't have this vast knowledge.
Right.
You're figuring it out as you go. We all did as parents.
How has the battle, the conflict, because I know you couldn't shield your girls from everything. Ultimately, how has it affected them adjusting?
They are so well adjusted that it blows my mind. I mean, you know, when their visits became supervised again back in January, which is a whole other conversation.
Oh, wow.
They, you know, I had to tell them, I said, look, girls, they come home from school. I said, I'm sorry, but, you know, because of, you know, what happened, you're going to have to see mommy at the library now till this thing can get fixed. And I always try to give them hope, you know, that it can be fixed. It's really up to mom, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, my youngest one, the first, Lily, she said, well, I can't see my dog. So that was the first thing that she thought about.
Because kids are so weird. They crack me up. They just, Lily's like, what about my dog?
And Lexi looks at me and she goes, she did it to herself, Dad. You know, they've been through so much that kids, as long as you're honest with them, you don't have to give them all the details, but just be honest with them.
Mm-hmm. What does honesty look like? Do you say, hey, your mom has issues, and like, how much of the past do you tell them? Like, what does honesty look like?
The only thing that I tell them is that, you know, because when things change, I have to explain it. I have no other option. I have to explain it. I'll just say, girls, you know, something's happened, and the judge isn't happy about it. And we're putting a plan together to fix it so things can be normal again. But until then, this is how it's got to be. And that's me, without blaming, without pointing the finger as much as I'd like to.
Yeah.
I don't want to tear their mom down to them.
Right.
They do that themselves. Kids realize when one parent's doing wrong. We don't have to remind them of it.
What happens when they start to, because, you know, I believe that, you know, our kids are both parts of us, like 50 mom, 50 you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What happens when one of them possibly expresses a desire to go and be with her voluntarily?
Well, I mean, that hasn't happened, but, you know, if that were to happen, I would say, listen, there's a process we have to go through because there are so many things that are being corrected right now at the order of the judge. I can't go against that. There's no way I can.
Okay. Bill, how in the hell, how have you won so many times? I mean, I know you've won it, but how? You sat in the law library, you were, I'm not going to say obsessed, but you're like one of these dads. You're like, all right, I'm going to make this happen. Were you ever afraid? I want you to talk to the dad out there that knows for a fact that he's going to lose, but he can't afford to file contempt charges, but he's afraid to do it himself. Like, what would you say to him?
Just inform yourself. I mean, you've got, like I did, I took all the stack of motions like this high from the history, and I went through them and I read them, and I picked out parts that was kind of trying to explain what I was trying to do in my first motion. Then I went into the law library and I spent a total of 23 hours in there. Not at one time, but total. Writing this first motion. And you know, the way I see it is that anybody listening to this, if you're doing things for the right reason, if your heart is in the right place and you're not going after somebody, you know, selfishly, you ain't got nothing to be afraid of. You're doing it for the right reasons. Like I told the judge, you know, the first time I had to represent myself, I couldn't hardly breathe. I had so much adrenaline pumping.
Yeah.
I was mad because of why we were there.
Yeah.
But secondly, you know, we just were coming back. And the judge said, well, do you need a minute? Because I couldn't hardly talk. I had so much adrenaline.
You're like tongue-tied and nervous, right? You're nervous.
I said, no, Your Honor. I said, look, you know, I've spoken in front of millions of people, and I'm not nervous about being here speaking. What I'm bothered by is that this has to keep happening. When does it stop? You know, when do we just say, hey, look, what's best for the kids? And that was 47 appearances ago. That was 17 appearances ago.
When does it stop, Bill? Not for you, but for all of us. When does it stop?
When when two people decide they're going to love their children more than they hate each other. That's when it stops.
I mean, that's a heavy statement. When you decide that you love your kids more than you hate their other parent.
Right. Because I tell them all the time, I'm like, you have to love your child more than you hate your ex. You have to. And once you do that, it will slowly fade out and it'll eventually stop.
Did you ever hate your ex?
I hate what she's done. I don't hate her. I just did an interview the other day and I said, look, I don't love them. I don't love my daughters more than their mom does. I just love them in a different way. She just loves them to the best of her capacity.
Yeah, that's a good answer. That's a very smart answer that your girls can even understand.
Yeah, and it's true. You know, she had a different upbringing than I did, and she loves them to the best that she is able.
Now, I ask a lot of men this. I found myself asking one, especially that I'm really close to this. What the hell were you thinking, Bill? Like, you didn't see any of this from the beginning? Like, you know,
Well,
I'm not gonna ask you about your personal life. I don't know if you were married or anything, but you know, like like I'm a stepmom, and so stepmoms, we kind of have to deal with our husband's decisions before us.
Right, of course.
Woman that he knows and the way that she and he are raising these children. So, Bill, what the hell were you thinking, man? Why'd you?
Well, I will say this: if I could have gone 6 months ahead or a year ahead, and it was genuinely an act. I mean, when you're with somebody, you show them the best you got, and you try to, just make them fall for you and whatever. For me now, I just want to say, hey, when I meet somebody, tell me what's wrong with you. I don't hear nothing good. Tell me what's wrong with you.
That's why I ask people on here, because Bill, I feel like me and you, like, aside from this podcast, I feel like me and you could be friends in real life. Like, whenever I come to Indiana, man, you're gonna take me out. We're going to get something to drink. I'm gonna introduce you to Tony. We all gonna go get drunk somewhere. Like, I feel like me and you gonna be real friends. Like,
absolutely.
And I just there's dads like you out there that are busting their ass, but I feel you're an anomaly because not everybody has the nuts to go and fill out their paperwork. What do you do? Like, if let's just say your child's mother, and I'm thinking of instances that I read every day when I get these submissions. Yeah. Oh my goodness, my kid's mom won't let me see the kids, but it's my weekend. So you know what happens? You call the cops. The cops come and say, hey, here's my custody order. The cops say, oh, there's nothing I can do.
Absolutely.
So then what is this man supposed to do?
Then you have that cop fill out a report, an incident report that he either come to your house or I tell guys go to the police station because they're not going to do anything about it.
Yeah.
But go there and say, listen, this is my weekend. Here's my order. So I need something from you saying that I came down and reported this. Give me that. And then you go fill out a simple one-page motion. You can go to the window and they will give it to you. And it's outlined. Just put down what you're complaining about. They give you a court date, boom, stamp, you're there. And then you go before the judge and say, look, Your Honor, I told the judge, I said, look, I don't have all the lawyer vernacular. What I do have is the truth. And Your Honor, look, I'm just here to protect my kids, and I want them happy and healthy, or I say our kids, because they're not just mine, they're our kids.
Yeah.
And that's what you do. You go fill it out and you stand before a judge and say, look, if they can see you're not bullshitting them, they're still going to treat you just like you're a lawyer. They're going to give you that same respect. Yeah. And they will see that you're there with a sincere issue, and they will do what's best for the kids.
So a man, a father, or any parent, I'm not just going to say dads, any parent that's being denied, let's just say a weekend, we'll start small. Because that's normally where it starts. You're denying visits. He needs to go fill out a motion, and they'll give him a court date. Well, depending on the state, I'm sure. But they'll give him. So they give him a court date, and then what do you talk about at the court date? Is this contempt? Are you filing contempt? Or
yes. You're saying that because this would be a contempt situation. Like if they didn't let you have the kids on your weekend, that is contempt of a court order. Now, you know how if you've ever had a speeding ticket, when you go to traffic court, everybody's there together, the whole room packed, everybody that's got a ticket or whatever. Well, when you file a motion, there's a motion hearing. It's usually every Monday. At least it is in Kentucky.
Oh.
So it's still a hearing, though, but it's a motion hearing. And they say, what's your motion about? You get to explain it. And their side tells their story about it. Sometimes they may say, okay, well, we're going to refer this over to case management where everybody sits down and tries to work it out. And if not, then we'll go ahead and do it for a full-blown hearing. But even though you're there to have your motion heard, that is still a court hearing. And it can get resolved right there because that judge can say, listen, here is the order. Here's the complaint that he filed when he went to the police department. You are in contempt. And they can, fine her. They can do whatever the case may be.
Take her to jail. No, I'm just kidding.
And then when you start having these repetitive contempt, these judges aren't dealing with it like they used to.
Oh yeah, your ass is going to jail now. Judges will
absolutely.
An alienating parent up, honey. They will take you to jail. You be
absolutely.
cute if you want to and deny those visits.
Yeah, and between that parental alienation, which is a whole other topic, but between that, the 50-50 desire for most dads now, you're going to see huge changes in the dynamic of co-parenting.
And you know who it's going to be, especially with fathers' rights? It's fathers asserting their rights and not bending over and taking it and not being afraid that,
Dad. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dads are programmed for so many decades that that's just how it goes. And so they just like, well, why fight it? This is just how it is.
Yeah,
but it's not. It doesn't have to be that way. Yeah, it doesn't have to be that way anymore.
Yeah. Oh, Bill, this is so awesome. So what's the name of the book? Let's talk about the book.
The book is called If You Can Get Over Yourself, Co-Parenting is Simple.
And it's probably like 800 pages because the first
64 pages. 64 pages.
The first 60 pages are probably telling people how to get over themselves.
Well, the word simple is the acronym for the 6 chapters.
Okay.
Chapter 1 is stop the chaos, because you can't start to fix anything until you stop all the noise and all the chaos.
Yes.
So stop the chaos. Chapter 2, it's not about you. Chapter 3, make it your purpose in life, because it is. Chapter 4 is make it your life mission. Chapter 4 is leave the kids out of it. And then chapter 6 is evolve as co-parents. So it's 6 chapters to explain common sense.
Chronological order too, kind of like the life cycle of we're brand new divorcees, or we just broke up, or we're brand new co-parents, to being okay.
Absolutely.
Where can we get the book? I'm going to list all the links, by the way. You all.
The only place you can get it. Nope. The only place you can get it is at billgobin.com on my website.
BillGobin. BillGobin. B as in boy. .com. Bill Gobin. I'm going to share the link, y'all. But yes.
So you can get a paper copy. I have an audio book and I have an ebook.
You all should get the audio book because Bill has his cool ass voice. Like he has his real cool. Like I don't know if you look like you talk. I don't know.
I've been told I don't, but
no, your diction and your tone is really surprising. So I don't know if you look like you talk, Bill, but it's kind of cool. It's so endearing. I'm from the South too, so.
Absolutely. Well, I will tell you this: on the audio book, you'll get to hear my daughters.
Get the audiobook, people. Okay. And when you buy it, make sure you tell them Naja sent you. Cause we like to support I know I'm crazy people. Bill's part of the family now. So, he's one of us, y'all. So we got to support him. Yes.
Absolutely.
Woo. Well, Bill, I really appreciate you being here with me today, with us today. I appreciate you being here. Is there anything else you want to add? Cause I feel like I could talk to you for hours, but.
I do want to say one last thing, because I know your audience, I know that they listen to you and take advice from you and they believe in your message. I really believe that. For me, I want to, and I've never done this before, so I'm officially doing it here.
Hey, exclusive.
Yes, exclusive. I seriously want to challenge everybody to join me in declaring war on counter-parenting.
It's war, bitches. It's war on counter. I'm with you, Bill. I am,
because we all know somebody that's going through it. We all know somebody that's going through it, or they're going through it. Pick up a copy of the book and just say, enough is enough. Start building the life that these children deserve. I'm declaring war, period.
I'm with you. You know what? I'm standing right there on the front lines too, right with you, partner. I'm declaring war with you.
As Bernie Mac would say, we're going to kick this motherfucker's ass.
So y'all, Bill actually, can I tell like the story?
Yeah, tell it. Yeah, we can tell.
When Bill was on the Steve Harvey show, Steve had some sort of way heard that he could do a Bernie Mac impression, and so he would not start the next segment until Bill did a God rest his soul Bernie Mac impression. So that was good.
I know I'm crazy.
because the
I know
speed
I'm
when he said
crazy.
that, you know, it was like,
Oh.
man, he said, you gonna do it?
You like,
I said,
come
what
on, man. Like,
I
that's
said,
your
let me tell
boy.
you something. I ain't no damn puppet like you can pull a string, tell me to do an impression. We ain't gonna do something else. Let me tell you something.
Oh God. Well, you know what, y'all? I think this is a good point to wrap it up. Me and Bill are gonna chop it up some more, but I'm gonna let you all go. This is another episode of I Know I'm Crazy. I appreciate you guys. I love you, and I will see you Tuesday after next Tuesday, because y'all know I ain't gonna post them every week. So every other week, I'll see you all every other Tuesday on I Know I'm Crazy.